Hello, and welcome to ShrinkRAP on Reshrinking the Podcast, the bonus episodes where we go deep on one aspect of the show, Shrinking, on Apple TV. And this episode, we are going to give you an update about a recent adventure that we had where we were invited to Napa StreamFest to go on the red carpet and meet some of the celebrities from Shrinking. It was amazing.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm your host, Carina Cooper.
And I'm your host, Holly Hurley-Feather. Well, I guess the best way to start is, as Julie Andrews says at the very beginning, a very good place to start.
It's a very good place to start.
So I got this email, and it said, hey, you're invited as press to come to Napa Valley StreamFest. Contact us for your media passes. And so I thought, is that real? I don't know.
And I was convinced it was not real. I'm like, we are being punked. There's no way they're inviting us as media. And so I said, yeah, no.
Don't they know this is just our little fun passion project to talk to each other about this show?
Right.
So I Googled online and I checked and looked up the email addresses of the media team and the press team, and it all worked out and it was all the right people. And so I emailed them back and I said, yeah, we'd love to. And then I said, I didn't tell Carina any of this was happening. I just signed us up for passes. And then I said, hey, if you're available, I signed us up for passes. If we can't make it, we can't make it, but let's see what we can do.
Yeah, it was so fun. I mean, Holly picked me up at 4 a.m. in her Tesla. My husband brought all my baggage down to the car, and we set off on...
Shout out to Mark.
Yes,
Saint Mark.
Definitely. Totally. And we, embarked on this amazing journey, and we, through thick and thin, made it to Napa with a little bit of car trouble, not in a driving sort of way, but in a comfort sort of way.
Yeah, I love when we got the invite, we didn't know if we were going to be able to make it, right? Because Carina had a conflict.
I had a retreat. About the opposite thing I could have done was get massages and do a relaxing weekend. But
I mean, that would have been incredible.
Hopefully I'll get to go again. But no, this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and I couldn't miss it. So.
Well, and that was what your son told you, right?
Yeah, he did. And so did my cousin, who I was supposed to go on the retreat with. We had it all planned, and she said, you know what, please just go do this. You'll never, ever be able to look back and not remember that you might have missed out on something.
Yeah, and so we made it happen, and as Carina said, we left at 4:30 in the morning because, I have a kid, Carina has a job, we were we can't leave any sooner than that. So at 4 o'clock in the morning on the Friday, we start driving down, and we get 6 hours into the trip, and I think it's funny because at one point we had switched out.
Yep.
And I was in the passenger seat, and I remember just waking up because I was so hot. And I thought, well, Carina likes, maybe Carina likes it warmer in the car. Maybe it's just me. And then a couple of hours later, I look over and Carina's sweating. Meanwhile, I'm more or less fine. I'm on the driver's side. The air's just blowing in my face. I'm having a good drive. And Carina's just schwitzing. And she's like, can we turn the air conditioner up? And I was like, it's pretty cold in here. And then when we stopped, what we realized was happening was her side was just blowing hot air.
Just blowing hot air on a sunny California day, and it's just hot. I'm sweating. I'm already in hot flash mode, and it was I finally did get in the back where it was blowing cooler, Uber style. I'm right in the back with the fans going right on me, and we were this is insane.
It was very fancy.
Yeah.
It was a fancy trip.
Yeah, another real highlight, I have to admit, we stopped at the Olive Pit, and it was amazing. So
yeah, I didn't realize you and Mark have done this drive before. Yeah. I have only done this once, and I went down the 101 because I wanted to see the coastline,
the
right?
coastline,
and then
right.
go through the Avenue of the Giants and all that stuff. So this was my first time to do this, and I've never been to Napa before. And so Karina's like, let's stop at this little place called the Olive Pit. And I was like, okay. And it was so lovely, y'all. They have this amazing muffaletta spread that I bought, that I brought home. It's actually the muffaletta mix is what they use on the sandwiches. And so I bought that, unique to their establishment, made for them exclusively. And then they also have these weird milkshake flavors that are surprising and delicious.
Yes, balsamic vinegar is my favorite. I love a balsamic vinegar aged balsamic vinegar milkshake. You wouldn't think, but yeah, it's so good.
Oh, it was
really
incredible.
tasty.
I had a taste of Carina's, and then I got the orange,
Blood
like
orange,
a blood orange
vinegar.
and balsamic, and
Yeah.
it was, it felt like a fancy experience.
It was, yeah, totally. We actually had to stop on the way back too, so we double dipped on the Olive Pit.
It was the best. And it ended up taking us, partially because of the heat issue, partially just because of the way driving is when you're a lady of a certain vintage. We I think got to the hotel pretty late, right?
Yeah, well, we originally I thought, oh yeah, we'll get there in time to have a nap and then go see Mariska at 6:30. And I'm like, we're not going to see Mariska. I think like 2/3 of the way down there, I'm like, let's just forget that idea. It's not happening. And we stopped a lot, and we did get to the hotel. It was really nice, but we did have to stop at the Tesla. Or wait, did we do that on the way?
We did it on the way.
Yeah,
so
we
on
did.
Friday, that was another yes, that's the car service issue. So on the way down, with Tesla, you have to go through the app, and they're like, yeah, we'll schedule you an appointment in like July. And I was like, I can't do that. We need this now. So I called the dealership. I talked to like the nicest man in the universe, and I really should give him a shout out. And I'm totally blanking on his name right now, but he let me bring it in, and he's like, we'll do the best we can. Worst case scenario, we'll make sure you guys aren't sweating while you're at the event. You can drop your car off with us. You can have a loaner. Your insurance will pay for that, and my insurance totally does. And he's like,
loaner was so fun.
Okay, so the loaner. So my Tesla is like a 2021, right? Like, we bought it before we knew Tesla, And so
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. And so when we got into the new car, it had full self-driving, which mine has like kind of self-driving. It like keeps you in
Lane
the lane.
assist, right?
Yeah, it won't let you fly off the road, but like it's not going to take over unless you're about to die, right? So all of a sudden, like you put it in and the car just kind of stops driving, like you're in one of those little driverless taxis or something.
It was so cool. I thought I would be more nervous than I was because Holly let me not drive in the driver's seat. And it was so fun. I'm like, whoa, and it notices all the people, and you get to see it watch on the camera.
I think my favorite part of the trip was watching you not drive the Tesla because, on the way there, at first, Carina was really nervous, and then she got used to the lane assist, and she's like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then when we got in the driverless one, she's like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. Like, I don't get any control. And when we got to the destination, when she had driven the first time, she was like, this is the best.
I don't think I can ever go back.
Yeah, it's like it's the luxury that like takes you away. You're like, oh my God, why have I ever done anything else?
Yeah, it's amazing. We really liked it.
Oh, it was great. And so then on Saturday,
we
prepped all morning for the red carpet. We are such over-preparers, you guys. We brought, in addition, we each got a selfie stick because they had a rule that inside the theater you couldn't set up a stand. So
right,
we
you
were
couldn't
like,
have a tripod, right?
Yeah, no tripods in the theater. And so we didn't know if that applied outside or not. We also didn't know what the turnover time would be. So we brought selfie sticks that can also be tripods.
They expanded to tripods. They're very nice. And we each have one. So it's like we're set for events.
Yeah,
we're gonna
so good.
We're gonna have what we need. It's awesome.
Oh, it was great. And then we usually, when we record, what you guys usually hear, we've been recording on lav mics. Now, you can see today we're in a fancy studio.
Yep.
We came down to Clackamas
Community College. Shout out. Mark Devendorf invited us, and we're so lucky to be here today. We're really excited about this. And we were really well prepared for the red carpet. What time was the red carpet out on Saturday? I'm trying to remember.
I think we had to be there at 4:45.
4:45.
And like we of course were like, how early can we show up?
We
and
got
they're
there like 4.
15 minutes. Right. And we were like, okay, we'll be there 45 minutes early. And so we show up, and I've got a backpack. Karina's got a rolly bag.
Yep.
We have like an iPad for backup running B-roll. We have each of our cell phones because we had promised our community we'd go live.
Yeah, we wanted to go live.
We wanted to go live on YouTube because YouTube is usually, I mean, we've done it before. It's traditionally easy peasy, right? It's made for this. And then Instagram, which I go live on Instagram all the time. We announced our podcast launch live.
Yeah.
So we thought this wasn't going to be
We've
hard.
done it before. I don't know. Yeah. So
right?
Chaos ensued.
Yeah, we had 3 different microphones all plugged into these 3 different things just in case, right? And sure enough, we tried to go live on Instagram. They had just changed the rules that you have to have over 1,000 followers, and we're pretty new.
We didn't have 1,000 followers yet. And so, yeah, no live. All our promises just down the tubes. It was
we felt so bad. And, we knew we had limited time because they really didn't let us even start setting up until 15 minutes before. We couldn't even start unpacking our bags because they were like, well, we haven't even lined out where you guys are going to be on the red carpet yet. So we get there, we've got this 15 minutes. The Instagram's live isn't working. I'm like, okay, let's abandon ship. We'll go YouTube, and we'll just tell everybody we're on YouTube.
That'll work, right?
So we go live on YouTube. And we keep getting all these comments,
these messages that are saying,
like, why are you guys sideways? And remind you, we've got a stand, right? So the thing is pointing horizontal.
It should have worked. Everything we tried. And I know at one point I got kind of snappy with Holly going, I already did that. I was like,
did you try this? Did you try this? And I was like, it said that before, but then I just had to push this. And Carina is like,
and Holly recognized this immediately. She went into caregiver mode. It was so, I could see it happening. I could see it happening as if I was standing above myself and looking down. And she got so sweet. And she's like, how about you pay attention to the red carpet and I'll work on this? And she's troubleshooting and trying everything. And finally we had to abandon that ship too. We were like, yeah, no, this isn't meant to be. I said, but remember, look where we are. We're here. Look at around. And it was cool because we were on the red carpet, and then there was a cordoned off space, and all these other people were watching from the other side of the barricade. They're like filming us and stuff. I'm like, oh no, what are we doing here? I said, let's just enjoy the moment. This is great. So much more is happening besides us going live. Let's just enjoy the moment, be in the moment. And then we got to meet some celebrities. And
oh my God, you totally gave me the Eliza and Hamilton, look at where we are, look at where we started, and I was like, oh my God, you're right. And so as Carina and I are having this moment, abandoning the live, I'm just making sure the camera's running.
Right.
Carina sees Bill Lawrence coming down the carpet.
Yep. We see Bill Lawrence, and we hear his handler, I want to call her his handler. You can't talk to anyone. You don't have time. And he looks over at us and says, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. I'm letting this be my wife's show. Christa and Ted. It's about Christa and Ted. And Holly said something like, we just have one question. And we had more than one question. But
I don't even think I did. I think I was like, oh, we understand. And he was like, okay, just one for you guys.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. He said,
I have to look at the footage. You're usually right. I'm usually wrong. I remember things so much
sweeter
than
he walks over and he goes, what you got? And Holly had a great question for him. And it was fun. And Bill is interesting. He has his answer prepared before he even hears the question, I think, sort of. And I probably would, too, if I was in his position because, I mean, come on, how busy can the guy be? So that was the first person we met.
Yeah.
It looks like Bill might be coming over.
Yep, we're gonna catch Bill, maybe. All right, here we go. Oh, we definitely want to talk to Bill.
We do.
It's only my wife today.
Oh! I love that. That's okay. We'll get some good questions for her too. I love it. Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me something. You've had Christa now. Oh, you've had Christa now play other people's wives in at least 3 series that I know of, possibly more. Is that something that you guys do on purpose? You're excited about in your marriage?
Oh my goodness, I hate it. I especially hate it because Ted's so charismatic and handsome and dashing.
Okay, I got to ask you, how come you decided to put together Brett Goldstein and Jason Segel? What made you do that?
Oh, just I thought they'd get along. No, it's Jason's idea. Jason cast Brett. I almost didn't see it. I fought against it a little bit, but it worked out.
And then next up,
It was Ted, right?
Ted McGinley. Oh, what a sweetheart. Just exudes this friendliness and the smile and the charisma. He's just there to be happy, and he's got this amazing grin and laugh.
And the warmest eyes. Like, gotta be the warmest eyes in Hollywood. Because he just, like, welcomes you in.
Yeah, he does. He's so inviting. He's like, yeah, and he really, like, gets right in there. He gets right in there and looks right in your face, and he's, like, so sweet.
But you know what I think, too? I think he was very charmed. And you guys, when you see the footage, when you hear the footage, tell me if you hear it. You can see him engaging with Carina, and just, like, his eyes are lighting up. And he just, like, is really enjoying talking to you.
Hi, Ted.
How are you?
I'm great.
So am I. Hello there. Wow. Who's your friend?
Hi, I'm Holly Hurley Feather. This is Carina Cooper.
Pet.
Oh, I have, a little pet here. Yeah. We have tiny little microphones.
We're having fun with this. I'm Carina. We are here for our podcast, Reshrinking the Podcast. And so we have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So you normally play a kind of golden retriever type, sweet, sexy type.
Nice. I like the description so far.
I mean, right? And can you ever see yourself doing a villain?
Yeah. I mean, I've made a career out of playing a prick. And friends of mine would tell you that's who I am. But I love playing him. That's a fun thing, though. It's a lot to chew on. So I like it. I would love to do it again. And I mean, those are the things. If you're not going to get the girl anymore, you might as well be the asshole. Sorry for saying it, but I mean, that's the way I feel.
Do you have a favorite villain type in mind?
No, I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
I was thinking something from Superman, but the truth is, I don't have that.
All right. That's a good answer.
It's all, I mean, listen, it's a lot that all of that stuff is fun to marinate in and get to sort of say to behave the way that you fantasize about them, and I think that that's healthy for all of us.
I love that. So maybe something that's not as healthy for all of us. Oh, yeah, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I do have another question. So what did you think it would be like to work on Shrinking, and how was the reality different than that? And can you compare them for me?
Well, so I came on to Shrinking as a walk-on. So I wasn't part of the cast per se, and I was, you're always nervous. I'm going to be working opposite Harrison Ford. First day we show up, we have a table read, and I'm sitting next to Harrison Ford. And at that point, we had like 150 people in the room. There were people, the heads of all the departments, the 3 people below them, all the studios, the Apple people. It was a big room, and that's nerve-wracking beyond words. Then they put me next to Harrison, and I'm not really on the show. I'm just going to walk through a scene. So I was a wreck, and I remember thinking, I don't know if I can handle this. But I knew it was the best script I'd ever read. By far the best half-an-hour script I've ever read. And I feel good about it now because it gives me great confidence in my own instincts. Like, I read it, and I said, this is the best one I've ever read. And I'm right. That show and that table read, people were in tears, so touched. And I said, okay, I'm right. So when it came around that I got to be a regular on the show, I couldn't believe that I was going to get to be a part of it. And it's the greatest thing that's happened to me in my career, honestly. Besides my very first job, Gary Marshall gave me on Happy Days, where that was also one of those groundbreaking moments that changed my life. So this is that in another way. I'm just because you have a lot of say-so as a character here. They give you a lot of room to create something and play with it. And there's nobody there saying, let's go. We have 10 minutes. It doesn't exist on this show because everybody is so professional that we're always going forward. But they have time to say, you know what? Do another one. Have fun with it. And it's pretty cool. Doesn't exist.
Wonderful. Yeah. So we're delighted to meet you. And I would like you to have a couple of our Reshrinking the Podcast stickers.
So, Reshrinking, I will be listening to you.
I hope you do. We would love for you to come on as a guest.
Okay.
We have had Allison Fanger on, and she speaks highly of you all.
Oh, she's drunk. Yeah. Anyway, speaks highly of us. Is drunk. They've been tasting too much wine. It's funny. I'm not a podcast guy, but I mean, I listen to them, but I don't like being on them. So this could be very special for me. Thank you.
Extremely special for us.
Reshrinking.
It was a lot of fun. I asked him if he would consider coming on the podcast, and he said that he doesn't do podcasts. He's never done a podcast, and he would consider coming on ours though, because it was like something he might want to do. So we were like, yes, please. We gave him a sticker, one of our Reshrinking the Podcast stickers with a QR code that will enable him to see where he can listen. And it was just,
oh my God. We had T-shirts
really
made too, guys.
Yeah, we were wearing our cute. We should have worn them today.
Oh, we should have worn them today.
We'll wear them next time.
Yes, you can see in the footage, it says Talk Shrinking, I'm in around our logo.
Yeah.
And then in the back, the quote that Carina always uses when we're talking about the show, it's a shrinking moment.
Yeah, or anything that comes up in life where there's mental health going on, which is a lot. I go, this is a shrinking moment.
Yeah, like every day.
Yeah,
I mean,
every
it's
day.
changed the way I deal with people, which honestly, I think they reflected back to us. Because next up, of course, was Christa.
Oh, Christa.
Christa B. Miller, you guys. I mean, I got to ask her about the Drew Carey show, which was so formative for me. Like, to see another, like, hard-hitting tomboy drinking with the boys on TV just, like, made my heart sing as a young person. And then to watch the actress she has become is incredible, because it's like her characters sort of all the things that make women, that all the boxes women have to fit into, she like intentionally chooses characters that fly in the face of that.
Yeah, she's amazing. And she's very different than Liz. I was struck by that because I really know her from Shrinking. I don't have a lot of previous viewing of her for other things. I've not seen Scrubs. I've not seen the Drew Carey show. So I know Liz, though. I know Liz really well. I love Liz. And seeing Christa before me, I could see such differences between them. What an amazing woman. Like, she's, like, incredible.
Yeah, she's really incredible. And her answers were so thorough. I mean, you guys are going to love this interview.
Yeah,
so good.
We got some great footage of Christa talking with us.
Okay, so we are Reshrinking the Podcast, and our podcast is all about shrinking. Love it. So I am really curious for you on shrinking. Is there something that's different from this character than the characters that you played previously? Think about Kate O'Brien, all the way back to
so
Scrubs.
Much different. Liz is vulnerable, and I think she's a little wounded, and I think she doesn't have a lot of friends and would like to have friends. This season, I think she's learning to trust those relationships more. But I think I definitely think she's different from those other characters who are very acerbic and confident, and Liz thinks she's confident, but she's not confident.
So we had Allison Fanger on the podcast, and I love this because she actually named you as one of her all-time favorite collaborators.
Yes.
And it sounds like you have a little bit of a history of that. What's your secret?
I don't know. I kind of bring in kind of cool stuff, and I try to get get in there with cool stuff. But Allison and I she has a very similar style to me, and she really makes the magic happen. And I can't pull it all together as well as she does. And she just got it right away, and we have a lot of help from my friend and designer, Greg Lauren, who really kind of established Liz's look. And so we kind of knew we went from Greg Lauren into Liz's whole situation. Allison got Greg right away, and he's been a collaborator of mine for many, many years, an old friend.
Yeah, I mean, you've done so many ensemble casts, and I have to pull up one of my favorites very early on. How did you know you were Kate O'Brien?
Well, she was described as like tomboy, one of the boys, all those things, and that's who I am. And I like when I read it, I was like, oh, I'm so going to get this. And I didn't know if that was true after like the 7 callbacks that I had to go through. It was a long, like arduous process, but I hoped I was going to be Kate O'Brien.
Now I heard a story, and now we covered it on the podcast actually.
Okay.
True or false? Larry David had something to do with you being on Drew Carey, and therefore maybe you even meeting Bill and all of the collaborating you guys have done since then.
Yeah.
Does he get a big Christmas present every year, or what's the deal?
Yes, he does, and he does make me tell the story every time I see him. Every time I see him, he goes, whoever we're with, he goes, tell the story, how I started your career. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
I don't know, though. I mean, you're right.
The reason I met Bill was actually from Howard Stern.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Can we hear that story?
Well, I mean, I was doing the Howard Stern show, and I had a boyfriend at the time, and he got mad over something that was said on the Howard Stern show, and Howard started laughing, and I inadvertently started laughing, and then I had to go to a party, the ABC party, without my boyfriend because he was mad at me for the night, and then I met Bill.
That's incredible.
So,
Christa, would you consider coming on our podcast?
I
We
of course
love
would
to have
consider
you.
it.
And here's a couple of our stickers.
Thank
and
you so much.
It's so lovely to meet you.
Awesome. Well, we will reach out. You're the best. Thank you.
So much. I appreciate it.
I mean, she and Ted both gave us so much more.
They were so present.
Yeah. They were really there with us and like really wanting more questions, but also giving us so much more. You talked about how Bill was like so prepared, and that's what I was sort of expecting because I have had a little bit of press training because at work and jobs that I've had, I had to have that. And the thing they tell you is shout out to Nancy Trent and her team. They tell you like you need to have like 3 key points. You need to find a way to make the question come back to your 3 key points, and you just stay on topic and you keep your interviewer on topic. And I feel like they opened up to us.
And it's true. I was expecting to barely be able to get a word in, and then they would be moving on to the next person, but it was not like that. They took their time. They took their time talking with us, which was astonishing. It was the last thing I expected. I thought, oh, we're going to be on the red carpet. Yeah, it'll be like, hurry up and ask your one quick question, and they might answer you with a 1-word, 2-word answer, and then you got to just leave them alone. But this was like, oh, they're here, they're engaged, they're present.
Oh, they were so with us. But I think Amanda and Kelsey, who set up the press and media for the event, I think Amanda Dolan, I think a part of that is that's the way they set up the event. It was
amazing. It was intimate,
delightful, and every person there felt so special.
Yeah.
And so, as we're getting ready to go into the theater, we see Luke Tennie.
Yeah.
And he's not supposed to be at this red carpet. He came for Christa and Ted and Bill.
Yeah.
He just came to support them because he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't supposed to talk to anyone on the red carpet. And we see Ted run over to him, show him our sticker, and be like, you got to talk to these guys. And Luke is like, I promise. You can kind of see him saying like, I promise I will, but I'm not supposed to today kind of thing, But they had like this really cute exchange. And then everybody went into the theater and we got to hear, the panels were incredible. And
they really were. It was astounding. Like it was great. There were podcasts, right?
Yeah, they were
recording podcasts live, and it was so cool to be in this theater watching all this go on, and we're of course recording on our phones, so we have some footage from that too.
Just so again, it's kind of amazing how happy accidents happen. Again, you meet with him about Bad Monkey, it leads to Ted Lasso. You had a pilot, I believe, that went, unfortunately, nowhere. That also marked the beginning of your collaboration with Brett Goldstein on Ted Lasso, and then co-creating with him and Siegel Shrinking. So how did you and Goldstein?
Brett, I did a pilot called Spaced Out, which Donald Faison was in, so I only worked with the same people. And just so you know, if Brett Goldstein ever comes up here, he will not call it Spaced Out, he calls it Space Turk.
I did hear that. Yeah.
He calls that show Space Turk. But I recognized early on in Brett a kindred spirit. He was hired on that show to be one of the leads of it, but he immediately helped us write jokes, and he was a super successful writer and comedian in the UK. And we needed some writers on the staff of Ted Lasso that were not only unbelievably talented, but soccer fanatics. And Brett's family was a every weekend loyal, Brett Goldstein, Phoebe Walsh, both from the UK, wrote on that show. Both their families entrenched in that, very regional world. And he was Tottenham. And I think Phoebe Walsh, he was the Hotspurs, right? Is that right? Yeah, exactly. And then I think Phoebe, I could be wrong, but I think Phoebe was Liverpool, but I'll have to check that. But and both families with lifetime tickets and all that stuff. And Brett is, if you ever hear him talk, he's the sweetest, most sensitive guy in the world. And the fact that he is Roy Kent and a sexual icon now. Even my wife thinks he's hot, which I don't like at all, and I don't get it. I don't get it. What? All right.
Okay, because he's so sweet and he loves me. There you go. Well, so you guys from kind of the most this being, as you say, so unexpected, it ends up going for 3 seasons. However, we now have things to look forward to going ahead. But the plan, it's interesting because it sounds like the plan for Ted Lasso, like with Shrinking apparently, was 3 and out, right?
Well, here's what's interesting, right? And I don't know how to, because I tried to explain this on social media recently with Shrinking and confuse people. So basically, just so you guys know, because Shrinking was pitched as a 3-season story. And then I said, no, we're going to keep doing it just with, we're going to do a new story now. And so people said a new Shrink story called Shrinking with different actors and actresses. I'm like no.
Or something.
I was like, no, the same cast, but they'll be playing different characters. And I'm like, I'm going to go to bed. This isn't working. The way I like approaching streaming television is what I thought was so exciting, and maybe it's just my own personal response to this. You guys don't understand, but I'm a dinosaur. And when I did network television, it was not even unspoken, it was spoken. Your job was to write a group of characters that never changes, that can be on for 150 episodes and be comfort food to people. So much so that one of my favorite Zach Braff jokes that I tell often is in the 8th year of Scrubs, someone asked him how much his character had changed, and he said, I think I have a beard now. Because he's like, I'm, at that point he was like 33 and still going, and having weird fantasies and stuff. And so what really excited me about streaming is every time I pitched a streaming show, I pitch the world, the characters, and because I want to tell the whole story, I go, here's the beginning, middle, and end. Okay? And they say, but what if at the beginning, and middle, and end happen and people still want to watch the show? And I'm like, well, if the characters are that good and rich, we'll come up with another story. And Shrinking, Ted Lasso is a great example because Jason stayed very true. I didn't work on the show the 3rd year, but he stayed very true to what we, pitched as the beginning, middle, and end of that show. And then people will see when the new Ted Lasso comes on later this year that it is Ted Lasso, but it's a completely different story. There's no way that that people could even mix them up. So Shrinking. We're going to keep it going because who wouldn't want to keep working? If Harrison Ford does an interview and says, I'm happy for this to be my last acting gig, in what world am I going to go? Too bad.
It's all over, Harrison. Pack it up.
I'm out.
Well, and part of the reason I think that you step down or step away more in the third season of Ted Lasso was because that was when Shrinking was getting going?
Yeah, and it was a real personal story to me. And Brett and I wrote it in the in the UK in our downtime. And Harrison Ford is playing a dear personal friend of my wife's, Phil Stutz. If you get looking for something to watch tonight, there's a great documentary on him on Netflix called Stutz. He's an amazing therapist with Parkinson's that's still out there fighting a good fight. And Jason's story, we dialed him in the kind of way he took control and helped us write that character, is also based on a true story that my wife and I kind of keep close to our vest. And it was just kind of a super cool passion project. I had no idea that it would resonate this much. I get very lucky that I found, you asked what my voice or brand is, if I write about things that have affected me emotionally, often it seems authentic enough that some people dial in. And I'm learning now that anytime I try to do something that feels like, hey, this would be a good idea, I've never experienced it and I don't know anything about it, it always comes off as inauthentic, and those are the swing and misses.
Now, if there's anyone here who has not yet sampled Shrinking, let's just, I guess, briefest way to kind of tease it, and correct me if you do it differently, but a therapist whose wife's recently passed away goes a little off the rails, but with the support of his neighbors and friends and mentor at the therapy office, forges forward. Is that fair enough?
It's pretty new. I always say my favorite thing about streaming television, Scott, is you and I have been around long enough that if I had tried to pitch this in Spin City days, if I had gone in and I'm like, hey, I want to do a comedy, and it's about this dude that his wife died, she got run over by a drunk driver, and he's being an awful father, and he's hanging out with sex workers, and he's doing a lot of narcotics, and he's just a horrible person. They'd be like, dude, you have to go. So that's part of the fun.
Well, even just the idea, though, that you could do a comedy about grief. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but I don't know of much of a precedent. Was that something that even you were totally sure you could
I wasn't sure it would work, but my wife and I, our family and our extended families, no judgment on how everybody in here, everybody I know is minimum 1 or 2 degrees separated from just a shit show of tragedy, of illness, of bad things happening to people you love, of tough breaks. And I understand that people all deal with it in great ways, different ways. My family darkly laughs our way through it. It's the only way we can tolerate it, the only way we can survive. It's the only way I can tolerate, kind of the world around me right now. Yeah. And so I had the sense that even if it didn't work, it would feel honest and real, at least the way that people talk about it, But no, one of the great excitements still in my life is I have no idea if anything's going to work. I really don't. That's why I was so shocked that Whiskey Cavalier, it's going to fucking haunt you. I'm going to get that show back on just to prove it. What if I held grudges that much? I based my whole career around it.
Well, so with this one, obviously you had, my understanding is you and Brett, as you say, were developing your track together. I guess Jason, what led you to Jason?
Well, we didn't even have the whole show yet, but we knew for it to work, we had to have an actor that could do horrible things and people would still like him and feel sorry for him.
That's your guy.
And we were like, Jason Segel seems to have that face. You can't. By the way, he joked when we called him up. He was like, yeah, if someone shows me their baby, I can go, that's an ugly fucking baby. And they'll all laugh. It's just Jason. It's Jason. He's so lovely.
Right.
So we dialed him in on early and knew that, as a guy that had gone through some stuff himself, that if he helped us kind of design that character, it'd be a great part of the team.
And then can you take us through how the rest of this kind of incredible ensemble came together? We can start at home and go from there.
Sure, the home's best. I've done my wife a great disservice. I just always thought she was the funniest chick on the planet, because I'd seen her I'd seen her in Seinfeld. She's one of the only actresses, by the way, it's good trivia, to play two completely different characters on Seinfeld. She was George. She was the girl that didn't care about looks. Yep. That George dated, which made him insane. And she was also the woman whose velvet jacket George liked to feel, to touch it, and she fired him. So she was two different characters, I think, in only a year apart, which I don't think you're allowed to do anymore. I always thought she was so funny, and I always wrote her as just this acerbic, just darkly sarcastic, I used to say that Christa's just like the characters she plays, only she's slightly meaner in real life.
Any thoughts on that?
And that was a joke that gave me joy.
She gets to respond in the segment after us.
The truth is, I wouldn't be with that person. She's lovely and loyal, and my realization on Shrinking, when I was like, I'm gonna write this part for her, is she's this insanely talented actress, beyond just being funny. And in Shrinking, we cast, I don't know why I'm telling this story, she told me to go through the cast, we'll be here for 2 hours. But there's an early scene with Jessica Williams, who's also amazing, that Christa was, and Christa was being tagged on being just a mom, and my wife kind of disappeared from pop culture for a second to give birth to and raise our 3 kids. And she turned that, the whole concept of someone saying that you're just a mom to know how to, being such a hurtful thing. And it became such an emotional scene. And so I was just blown away by her acting chops, and you're so good on the show, I would probably cast you if you didn't sleep with me. So we got Jason, we got Christa, we wrote a Harrison Ford type in the script. He's my neighbor. We got oddly helped. I was trying to think of a story that hadn't come out. And it was, I was able to get Harrison the script because I think he kind of remembered me from just from staring at him and yelling the word Harrison every time he passed me in the street, which I do, by the way. Just 2 things. Every time I saw him before I knew him, I'd be like, Harrison! He didn't know who I was. I'd do that. And then just so you guys know, I'm mortified. Matt Tarsus, who I created Rooster with, he's a great writer. We're on the same lot as The Pit. And when we go to our stage for Rooster or for Bad Monkey, we often pass their stage. If I see any actor or actress from The Pit, without slowing down, I just go, The Pit! And they always look over and they're not sure what's going on. So anyways, here's a story that hasn't been told. I don't know if Harrison wanted to meet with us at first, but he was talking to Phoebe, help me out, Fleabag, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh, yeah,
and she saw Brett Goldstein. I guess there's Indiana Jones stuff going on in the UK, and Harrison was meeting with Brett. And she called Brett and me the cool kids. And I think Harrison liked them. Kids. And Brett met with him in London. And then the story that you guys have all heard, so I'll go quick, is that he didn't really know who Jason Segel was. So he sent him Jason Segel's, a couple of his best movies, including Sarah Marshall. And he sent a thing back that, if you don't remember, that Jason has full frontal nudity in Sarah Marshall. He sent back a little note that said, the kid is great, tell him nice penis. That's great. So that's how Harrison signed up.
And next up, we have Christa Miller talking more about the Larry David question I asked in the panel interviews.
And I think I can get it, but they really need to see the Seinfeld tape, but I promise I'll give it right back. They just want to see me on it. They're not going to steal any ideas. And do you think I can have it? And he's like, yeah. And in those days, there were big
like Betamaxes.
Betamax, huge tapes. And I ran onto the Seinfeld lot, and which was in the valley, and I got this tape. And then I also, in those days, I smoked, chain smoking in the same outfit that I wore for the audition.
Yes.
And then, which I'd worn 4 times. So by then it was just worse for wear. And I drove over the hill to ABC, and I handed off the tape like I was in broadcast news.
Yes.
Hunter, like Joan Cusack.
You run right into the pulled out drawer.
Just like handed it over, and then I had to sit at ABC and wait for the tape because I told Mr. David that I would bring it back. And they gave it to me back. No one said anything. They just handed it to me back, and I was like, okay. And I drove back over the hill, gave it back to Seinfeld, and then by the time I got home, Bruce Helford called me and said, "Welcome to the show."
Wow. Hi, Shrinkers. If you're enjoying this so far, I'm so glad. Thank you so much for listening. You can also hear these full panel interviews that we're talking about with the Awards Chatter podcast. That's where the Bill Lawrence interview will be. Or this interview that you'll be listening to with Christa Miller and Ted. And you can hear that one on the Julia Cunningham show. That's right, the Julia Cunningham show. So if you're enjoying these, you can go over to those 2 podcasts after you listen to this one. And this interview is actually Ted expanding a little bit on the question Carina had asked on the red carpet about, you often play these kind of golden retriever type guys. Well, obviously for our generation, the first original Ted McGinley golden retriever role was on Married with Children. So here he's talking about that switch of going from Happy Days of all things to Married with Children and how his parents perceived that experience. So let's get into that.
By the way, in Napa, they have Jefferson Street. Today I had my picture taken by it. I was very excited. My wife and I were taking a little walk and run through the neighborhood. We saw Jefferson Street. I thought,
it will follow you forever.
Yeah.
Which, I think a lot of times I like to get into the nerdy side of the business, that reminder of, Married with Children put Fox on the map. You joined slightly into the series, but, it was still at a time where people would attempt to boycott the show, or it would cause, strife within conservative communities and all these things. It was a massive success for Fox. It, alongside the Tracy Ullman show, was the 2nd and 3rd show on the network. It has sort of that place in history, and also the brilliant sort of storytelling and dysfunctional, beautiful family. And then you as the neighbor, and tell me about sort of joining that series. Again, almost like Happy Days, coming into a show at such like an interesting time of when that network was then starting to bring on Beverly Hills 90210. It was becoming a thing.
Yeah, it was an exciting time to work for Fox. And they had, so on Happy Days, my mom and dad were like, they loved coming to the show, it was live audience, everyone was there. They were scared to death of Married with Children. And it was, Married with Children was so great that before they had metal detectors, they would have guys who was like, hey, do you have any knives or chains? And, all of our audience did. And so, they'd unload it, and you could hear it ching-ching. It was fantastic. We had the greatest audience. It was really fun. The audience became one of the cast members, because you could actually anticipate what the audience response was going to be when Al Bundy walks in, throws his coat across the room. You knew it was, whatever that line was going to be funny no matter what. So they could anticipate the audience. And the deal that the 2 showrunners had with Fox was, you can't give us any creative notes. So whatever they wrote was exactly, that never happens, right? Bill can do whatever he wants, but at that time, in that era, that didn't happen. They could take notes, like you're not allowed to say certain words, but they couldn't give them creative notes. So they did whatever they want, and they were 2 of the funniest, strangest guys in the world, and they were so much fun to be around. And that cast was so welcoming to me. They made me feel day one like, we're so glad you're here. And I loved that show. And Jefferson became, they had an idea of who he was going to be for Marcy. And I think they kind of wrote him for Marcy. And then it turned out that Al and Jefferson had a good relationship, so they started to go that way. But it was a great show, fun time to be on Fox, and it was fun to watch it explode.
And then that was the red carpet. That was the day. That was the event. And so we got back to the hotel. I talked Holly into going to the hot tub, and we talked about our day. And we even made some videos of us talking about stuff in the hot. We might have to throw some of that in here.
We could totally do that. Also, we'll save some of it for the doc, for our eventual documentary, making reshrinking. Wait, what did you say?
The accidental podcast.
The accidental podcast. I love that.
I mean, if you guys knew how this started, I just wanted someone, especially Holly, because I met her last August, and I wanted her to commit to talking with me about shrinking every week. So I said, hey, let's start a podcast. And she's like, okay, I'm down. And so
just appealing to my vanity. I was like, oh, me on
so
a
we
podcast?
record every week. We record every week, sometimes 2 episodes a week. And then we through season 1 by December. It was like, what just happened? I didn't think anything would happen with this. Would we actually air it? But then in December, we're like, what if we try to go live when season 3 premieres? And it turned into reality. That's what we did. We went live to watch the season 3 premiere. And after YouTube took it down a bunch of times, we kept getting it put back up. And I mean, it's there for you guys to watch. And it's basically history now. We started editing our episodes and putting them out. So we've had a lot of fun. This has been great.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, the last day of StreamFest, this was incredible. The location switched on us, and we didn't realize it, so we were kind of stressing out. But we ended up at the winery. We caught a shuttle up to the actual location from where we parked, and there was the teeniest, tiniest little red carpet I've ever seen, with 3 or 4 spots, I think.
Yeah.
We were next to ABC News, I think, was next to us, something like that. And there he is, Luke Tennie himself. And all of a sudden he was there. I didn't have time to I was going to set up my iPad, but I didn't have time, so we're doing handheld.
Yeah.
We're doing handheld. And at one point I asked, because Holly was talking to him first, I'm like, I'm using my iPad in selfie mode, but I'm pointing it at Holly and Luke, trying to get him in frame and her in frame. He's really tall. So it's can I get them in? I think it's a Dutch angle, because I'm trying to get them in the shot.
Yeah, and it was crazy because we had so much difficulty the day before. We were like, let's not overload it. Let's bring our cell phones. Let's do selfie view. And, Carina does documentaries. I came up finding my light, as a little musical theater person. So I was like, we can do this. We'll just stand a little further in front of him. But he wanted to be close to us. He wanted to tell the story. And so you can see the two of us struggling to get this beautiful, tall, just incredibly talented and smart
so beautiful.
man.
Yep.
And trying to capture him. And we called it a selfie view, an interview, a selfie view. And I'm excited about that. I like that format because it's very intimate, but you can tell it's my shoulder got really tired at a certain point because I had to hold it up so high to get his face.
And we, I captured their discussion, and then it was my turn to ask a question. And so I asked Holly, can you take this and point it at us? And he thought I was asking him. So he goes, sure, I'll take it. And so he takes the iPad, and he's the one doing the selfie view for me talking to him. But he's more interested in talking and answering my questions than he is really looking at the frame. So there's a lot of shifting around, and it's awesome because it's Luke holding it. I'm like, this is the Luke take.
Carina?
I am.
All right, here he is here with us.
Hello.
Yay! Hi, Luke Tennie. So, I like greetings. Oh, that was very spacey.
And salutations.
Oh, greetings and salutations. Okay, so I have a question for you, sir. I have noticed that you have gotten to work with 2, not 1, but 2 of the original Black Lady sketch show people. You've gotten to work with Ashley Nicole Black, and now you're working with Quinta Brunson. Are you starting a collection? Is there somebody you're looking to collab with next? What's the?
I mean, honestly, I think it's just, I've been trying to pay attention like what parts are smart for me to try and like go for. It's not like I have too many options at this point in my career, but my wife has always had an eye for, yo, this show is crazy. Wouldn't it be crazy if you were on it or I was on it? And it started with Ted Lasso, and then that show ended, and then I booked Shrinking. And then it transitioned to Abbott, and then it transitioned to The Pit, and I ended up being on those shows. So I think the secret is, if there's any sort of connective tissue, is why I'm booking certain parts. My wife might be some sort of magical element. Anything she's kind of suggested to, I end up getting a read for. So maybe it's her.
She's like the world's best manifester.
I think that might be what's going on.
I love that so much. What an awesome answer. Yeah.
Well, it's literally true.
Oh, yes, I will. I would love to. Oh my God, Luke, that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
oh, he's got the long arms too. Okay, Carina, you got to get in there.
All right. So my question for you is,
You're so tall.
Did you think it would be like to work with Harrison Ford? And how was the reality different than that? And can you compare this for me?
Well, I mean, I thought it would be awesome, and then it was. So unfortunately, there's not much to compare. I just had this weird guess that he would be dope, and he turned out to be pretty good. He's a very hardworking guy. He's an actor's actor. Like he's never, any sort of diva about any of the work. He's just there to tell a good story. He acts as if he used to be a carpenter. If that makes sense.
It does.
He approaches it very practically. And he just builds each moment of the scene responsibly, and it's always exciting and awesome. Yeah, it's great.
That's great. I believe you. I believe that's the way he is. My other question is for you is, how has working on Shrinking and being involved in this program changed your perception and awareness of mental health and mental health issues, especially in this country?
Well, I think we started shooting kind of like at the tail end of COVID. I think it would be weird for us not to acknowledge that there were two things that were consumed more than anything else in the world during COVID: is alcohol and media. So we have a really great responsibility here now that we've been through the pressure cooker and have seen the effect that a sort of comforting media could have on people in America or around the world. I think the discussion around mental health is slowly becoming destigmatized, and I think shows like Shrinking, Ted Lasso have a lot to do with it. So it's a little less about entertainment. We're kind of crossing over into some weird responsibility of education or awareness with this show, and I'm just riding that wave because I think we're probably a part of something where the writers are sort of pioneers into a new type of media that's sort of an amalgamation of entertainment as well as like education.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So here we are. Bye, Luke Tennie. Nice to meet you.
Come on the pod with us sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yay! Love it.
I think I'm a better auditioner than I am actor. I cracked that code. I figured it out. And the reason why I feel that way is because I think I'm just as good at both. And I don't meet any exceptional actors who are like, yeah, I'm awesome at auditioning. So I'm like, okay, I know where I'm at, But for me, I think about this one audition, man. It went terribly for me. It was for Riverdale, and I go in there, and I just see like 18 different versions of handsome. I'm seeing these jawlines, which I ain't never had, and I'm seeing abs poking through leather jackets. I'm like, this ain't for me. I ain't supposed to be here, and I kind of beat myself up in my head a little bit. So when I went into the room, I really wasn't. I just kind of cheated myself out of a good audition, But if I'm gonna tell that, then there's another one that's a little bit more uplifting, which is my audition for Abbott Elementary. That came in, I had two auditions. I had one for Jabari's dad, and if you're a fan of the show, that's a hilarious part. So I was really bummed I didn't get that one. But the second one came in, I was on a walk with my wife, and she was pregnant, and we were pushing a stroller for our other one, and we were talking about like workshopping this audition and how to do it and how to nail it. And she's like, hey, you should look at the camera. I'm like, I can't look at the camera. She said, it's Abbott. You gotta look at the camera. I said, it's Abbott. I gotta look at the camera. So she comes in, she helps me break down these sides, and we do the analysis and figure out where I'm supposed to do this and the eye lines and all of this. And then boom, I look at the camera, we check the tape. We're like, all right, let's send it off. Got the part. So what this really is just an example of if you have a good teammate in your life, how things will go for you. If you got people around you who support you, lift you, and they can help you solve problems you don't even know are there. For me, that problem was figuring out whether or not I should look at the camera, you know. But I just had somebody supportive in my corner who was also a great reader in that. So I'm really grateful for my wife and the other actors who I often tape with. But yeah, there's pros and cons to figuring that thing out. But I'm grateful I got the team I got.
Yeah.
What's the code?
To be honest, it was this. It depends on what you're auditioning for. For me, I am a supporting actor. Yeah. I was trying to do the lead thing in college. I support. I was an offensive lineman when I played football. I'm the same thing as a performer. I sing harmony, I play the bass guitar, I run support. So instead of approaching an audition thinking, oh, how do I stand out? I go, how do I blend in? Yeah. And that switch flip really helped me start nailing these guest star parts. Yeah. But even on Shrinking, like Sean's a series regular, but that's a supporting part. Yeah. So I had to treat it the same way. How do I highlight what that character is going through with my performance? So I watched, for Shrinking, it was Ted Lasso and whatever else contemporary stuff Bill had made, and look at the peripheral characters. Yeah. And look at the language that they have physically and how they might be delivering their lines based on who that character is. And then I go, now how do I just grab that and change the circumstances and insert it into what I need to do for this audition? And then do that and fail a bunch of times, and then maybe you start getting callbacks and maybe you book. But that for me was cracking. I go, you know what? I need to let this idea go that I need to be Michael B. Jordan or Jonathan Majors, or I'm just me, and I run support very well. So when I figured that out, I stopped trying to stand out and started trying to blend in.
I've already failed a bunch of times, so I feel like I'm halfway there. I'm halfway there.
So can you just all share a little bit about how those collaborations have changed you, or what you've learned from those experiences with those exceptional actors?
I love the term collaborator. I think it's wonderful. I love the idea of working together with a team. And honestly, when I think of the jobs that I've had the pleasure of working on recently, I don't feel like a collaborator. These people have welcomed me in, and I feel like we're some sort, this is so cliche, some sort of family, man, like some sort of work family. I've been very blessed with Shrinking. I think Jason has sort of set the tone. I call him QB for quarterback because he's our team captain. You know, our coach is probably Bill and our director, but he's the quarterback. I think the reason why that show works is because from top to bottom, everyone has this agreed upon thing that we're going to treat each other like human beings. And that you'd be shocked how little that is a priority on a lot of other sets. But because of that, when we have the opportunity to create together, it just feels like we're all uplifting each other. And listen, Harrison Ford is one of the most iconic movie stars of all time. But he's an actor who cares about doing a good job. His scripts, when he comes to set, have annotations on them. He's folded them. They've got this worn look to them because he's worked on the work. Every time he shows up, he's prepared. Jason, I don't know what his scripts look like because when he gets to set, he ain't got none because he's done. He's done. He did the work. So when I look at these people, it's an honor to collaborate with them. And I know we kind of struck gold on that show because we treat each other like humans, and I do feel like they'll be friends. But on a small scale, I think it's important to recognize, I heard Ryan Coogler say something, we all want to work with these greats, these stars, but work with people at your level. Create with people at your level. So I want to shout out my co-producer and co-writer, Noam Shapiro, who's on the East Coast. He's who I made my short film with. We went to college together. We are on the same level. And rather than me trying to see if I can get Jason or to get Harrison to work on my next thing, I'll work with the people who I came up with. And then perhaps through that, maybe we'll be the Jason, the Harrison in the future to inspire others to work with people on their level, you know? So collaboration is one of those awesome things where, yes, I'm a collaborator with Harrison Ford, but I'm partners with Noam. We're going to make stuff, and then in the future, maybe when we get to that level, we can help uplift and elevate other people who are up-and-comers, you know? But that's an important thing to prioritize. Yeah, that's a cool thing to be able to say, but I ain't hire him. We're not working together like that. I'm working with Noam like that and aiming to get to that level. It just feels like an important distinction for me to clarify here. It's a great project, but I'm a cog in the machine and happy to be there, you know?
If you're enjoying Reshrinking the podcast, please like, follow, and or subscribe to us on your favorite platform. Also, if you can leave us a 5-star review and a positive comment, it will help future shrinkers find us and help us grow. And then you'll have even more people to talk to about shrinking. It's a win-win.
And so it's special. I think it's really special. That was an amazing setting. It was another moment where I was just turning to Holly going, look at where we are. This is really spectacular. Like, the view was incredible. The panel, the 4-person talk was incredible. And we have some great clips from that too. It was captivating. Some of those talks that you go to where there's 4 people sitting up on stage and you're like, kind of like, this was not that. I didn't look at my watch once. Like, usually I'm like checking my watch. When is this going to be over? No, not this one. It was really good. And the woman doing the interviewing was really great.
She was incredible. And she did, all of the podcasts, and you can find them. If you go to Napa StreamFest, you'll get to see all the podcasts that we're recording. So you can go and listen to their episodes too after you listen to this one, which is amazing. Yeah. And the woman who led that panel was incredible. And for me, it was also really neat because Now and Then was one of the biggest movies of when I was growing up, and it was even in like high school when I went to choir camp, we would all walk around like acting like we were those 4 girls. And Thora Birch was on this panel, as well as like a couple of other kind of big breakthrough, because these were the breakthrough awards, and it was overlooking this wine-laden
amazing
Napa
vineyard.
Valley. The view was so incredible. It was Storybrooke?
Something like that, but we have great selfies by the barrels.
Yes.
We have some really great selfies that we took.
We had good wine and good food.
Yeah, it was really good food, and we sat down and ate. It was like there was different options. You could go get some food, and it was really a lot of fun. And we probably stayed a little longer than we should because we had to get home that day. Holly had to fly out the next day from Portland. So we rolled into my apartment building at like 5:30 in the morning the next day. It was like,
so rough.
And I thought we were never going to get home. Like, halfway home, I'm having a meltdown. Like, I was truly showing my age. Like, also infantile. I was like in tears. In tears.
It was an all-night drive. And when you're 20 and you do an all-night drive, you're like, I'm going to bounce back. I party every day. But, like, the older you get, the more you are attuned to your body and you know the toll it's going to take. And it does. It wears you right out. Yeah. But you had the brilliant idea on the way back. We started watching Big Mistakes while we were charging the car.
Oh, if you haven't seen Big Mistakes.
We've been talking about, like, an alternate title for this part of the podcast, the bonus episodes, to be like a shrinking podcast with a streaming problem. And that is just Carina and I to a T. We also have a reading problem. She introduced me to Robert Crace, so we were listening to Robert Crace books. Yeah. So it was a rough drive home, but a really good one.
Yeah,
and it took like 14 hours. And then I got on my plane the next day, flew to Mayo, although there was like a huge flight delay. It was like delay after delay. And then when I got to Mayo, I watched the new season of Scrubs, because you got to stay in Bill Lawrence land once you're in Bill Lawrence land.
And I'm looking forward to Rooster.
Oh my God, me too.
I'm such a huge Carl Hyacin fan, and I clocked that Julie's always carrying around a Carl Hiaasen book, and I've read them all, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, Rooster's based on Carl Hiaasen character? That's amazing. Really, really cool. So I guess Steve Carell plays Carl Hiaasen type character. So amazing.
Yeah, so look out for all of our spin-off pods, the Hyacinth Hour,
right.
And,
Craze Cast, maybe.
Yeah, I love a Craze Cast. Carina comes up with the best title. ShrinkRAP was hers, by the way, and I didn't get it the first time she pitched it to me, and that's why it's the bonus episode.
Like WRAP, because it's a visual thing. You have to see how it's spelled to go, we're going to rap about the show.
Yeah. Oh my God, so good, you guys. We had a wonderful trip, and just double thank you again to Napa Valley StreamFest. If you get a chance to go, because you will get these intimate environments and this like really rich interviews and these great panels.
Really rich experience. It's been such a wonderful adventure for us.
Yeah, it was really great. And thank you again to CCC for the lovely space
Clackamas
today.
Community College.
Maybe we'll come back. Maybe we'll do a couple episodes from here.
We would love to.
Yeah. All right. Have a great week, you guys.
Yeah, that is our time.
And that's our time. Bye.
Bye.
Re-Shrinking is with Carina Cooper and Holly Hurley-Feather. This podcast is produced by HHF Strategy and Carina Cooper, and music is by Sean Shank. If you're still listening, here is a delightful little unhinged cut of our hot tub footage. Please enjoy.
It's really interesting. We got there so early that, they're like, we're not setting up yet. And so there's this red cord thing, and it's inside of a barricaded area. There was no red carpet in sight.
It's yellow. It's yellow.
Anyway, it was concrete. But we had a little square. It was like 3 by 3 or something, a little square, and our podcast name was on one of the labels.
Re-Shrinking the podcast. There were like 3 spots that said social, and then there were like, the local news and the
CBS News, local news, and some news UN or something. Re-Shrinking the podcast. It was beautiful. So we're setting up in there. It felt really positive, and there was nobody around. So across the barricade thing, there was the front of the theater, and there was a couple of people like security and maybe a couple of other newsies or press types. And then all of a sudden, all these people started wandering in to take a look. So as we're setting up, I'm watching, and then as the stars started to arrive, I'm looking over, and there's people across the barricade taking film of us. Like, they're like, and I'm like, I gotta tune them out. I'm feeling really insecure because we're like a spectacle now. We're like a spectacle. But I'm like, hey, I could get used to this. Like, this was fun. It was fun. I was really nervous to do this because I don't like, being the center of attention. I didn't think I liked to be. But it was fun, and I really liked talking to Ted McGinley and Christa Miller. I didn't really talk to Christa Miller.
To Carina, by the way.
I mean, he loved talking to Holly.
No.
He's very sweet. Christa was the same thing. It was the same thing. She looks different, like ethereal. It's really cool. And I haven't seen Bill enough to know what he looks like, really. I mean, I've seen him do interviews and stuff, but he was right there, tall. I'm like, oh man, hi. Yeah.
Kristen, that's like a talking.
I guess.
Today. Although I will say I was a little disappointed, Bill, because our first episode is all about Brett Goldstein as a creator. Pre his appearance on the show, we're doing episode 1, season 1. We know that Brett's a creator and a writer, and obviously know that he was a successful comedian, and for me, he's really influential with how we run our podcast.
What I heard him say was that it was Jason's idea. He wanted to cast Brett. I was against it, and then they talked me into it. And it turned out good because he was really good at it.
But he talked about the casting. Bill, I wasn't asking about the casting. I was asking about creation.
I know.
I loved getting to talk to Mel anyway. Because they did podcasts like live in front of everybody, and that was awesome. And we were welcome to film those, and we filmed some of the answers, so we can share some of that footage with you guys as well. And they covered some of the questions we asked on the red carpet, but not all of them.
No.
And you don't get that kind of personal touch as well. But the research on it was good, and I thought it was lovely. But yeah, so we got that. We got some internal stuff,
and I'm glad we stayed, because there was part of us that were like, let's get out of here. After the red carpet, we were like, that's it. I'm spent. I can't do any more of this. I'm so disappointed. We were sick with disappointment, and we tried to act like we weren't for the other one. I think we did that a little bit. We were like, oh yeah, let's do this, and then we're like inside crushed.
So crushed. I was like, I need a giant glass of wine. And then we went in and we talked to the bartender, and she was like, oh my God, you guys are amazing. We're going to listen to your podcast tonight, like while we're cleaning up.
They were so excited to get stickers.
Giant drinks. And then we were able to just enjoy the show. Although we both of us felt like obligated to record, and I recorded like 75% of it, and then I was like,
I said I can't hold my arms up. Let's talk about the code word.
Yeah, so we had a code word because we knew this was a possibility, right? Because our first 3 episodes of the pod were a lot of like, well, I'm glad we shot some backup stuff, because now we have to edit from about 3 different sources because shit went wrong, right? So the first time you do stuff's gonna go wrong. I used to be a producer. I always built in backups. I always built in the right people and the right things to make things go off without a hitch, and at least appear that way to other people. But you can't always do that with lives, right? So we made a code word, and we were like, in case, because you get excited when you see a famous person, and you're like, oh,
get excited and maybe go on, like talk over people and stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
If either one of us was going to do that, where we got so excited that we couldn't stop talking, the other person would go,
cha-ching,
cha-ching,
like
we're having a little celebration, champagne, cha-ching,
and then that would be us telling each other, like, okay, you're talking over my questions, it's my turn. Or let them talk. Instead of you, it's like, hey, you're excited and you're talking, and someone else should be talking.
And it was pretty sweet that we
But you did catch me tonight. You didn't remember the code word, but you caught me once because you were supposed to ask all the tech questions.
I did. I got a question.
I thought you, because you paused for a really long time, but you were really just giving him time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if you were giving him time or not. And so I said, well, I have a question. That I looked at Karina like, is that okay? And I was like, actually, I have a question. And so I was like, oh, we didn't use the code word, but we knew what was happening.
We did.
So
that was cool. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a good moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, Holly's phone's going to go dead. So
yeah, so there you go. So we would love. I think we've hit the point with this podcast, like we're meeting celebrities now, and we're still having to rely on ourselves to do all of the editing, all of the live, all of the video, all of the audio, all of the in-person. There was a cute little influencer next to us from social media whose dad and mom were there, and clearly his dad and mom did all the shooting and all the editing and all the setting up, and all he had to do was ask the questions, and I was like, I'm real jealous of that kid right now.
It was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun. We had a ball.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, so thanks to Amanda and Kenzie.
All right, well, we're going to say goodnight now.
Good night now.